he would say stuff like, I don't know where this is gonna lead. Like, maybe I fall in love with you and you fall in love with me, and like this is like a family. He did admit to sleeping around. You're doing that with me, knowing I'm pregnant with who knows who.
Do we need to get lawyers involved?
And I'm just like in utter shock.
Welcome back to the Got Her Back podcast. We have a guest today, Maggie.
I know. I'm so excited.
And I know nothing of the story, so y'all are going to get real-time questions. And for me, I feel like you're kind of caught up to it. Do you know?
A little bit. I mean, I just know a little bit. Like, literally, I was scrolling on my TikTok 2 days ago, and Abby, that's with us. Abby,
Abigail.
say hi.
Hello.
Come up on my For You page, and literally, like, I was like reading her story, and I was like, oh, you're in Dallas. Sounds like you got a good story to tell, sister.
Just a tad.
Yeah. I'm like, so I literally inboxed her thinking like, she probably won't even, I like followed her and I'm like, she probably won't even answer me. So I just randomly sent her an inbox. I'm like, hey, you're local. We have a podcast. We'd love to have you on. You want to come? She's like, sure.
Why not?
YOLO.
Yeah.
Exactly.
YOLO. I am very excited. So are you from Dallas, Fort Worth area originally?
Yes. Born and bred Fort Worth.
How old are you?
32.
You look like a baby.
I know.
You look so young. You look
Thanks.
like you could be my son's age. So he's cute too, by the way.
Well, I am in the market now.
So you look very, very great. Very young.
thank you.
Very young.
Yes.
I'm excited that I love stories. I don't love that this happened to you because I
Lord
just don't love
knows.
that. But I love that you're here. And I love like spreading awareness.
Yes.
That's what we'll call it.
That's what we'll call it.
Awareness. So you came across TikTok with a story. Let's talk about this story and kind of like, is this a dating story?
Dating, life.
Okay.
I mean, legal as well.
Legal story. So take us back to where you met said guy.
So I met Tanner on Raya in December 2023.
What is Raya? I've never been on.
Raya is the dating app that's like you like apply to get in, or like you have to get accepted.
Oh, okay.
Or I was about to say, I don't know if they like invite people, but you
Yeah.
you have to get accepted into it.
Okay.
So like referrals are a thing, or you just apply to it, and then you have to connect your socials. And if you don't have socials, you like have to get them.
So it's like more elite. So they're actually. Do you feel more like safe and confident on that one? Maybe like or did you?
Red flag.
I'm sorry.
Red flag.
I'm saying
Red flag.
if they're connecting your socials, because isn't a red flag if they don't have socials?
I
mean,
will say 2 of the most stable people I have met recently don't have socials
Yeah.
for like really good reasons, and I actually genuinely believe
I love that. My boyfriend does not have socials. Never. Not an Instagram, not a Facebook, not a
now
nothing.
I'm really attracted to it,
Yeah. I love that.
especially now.
When I first started dating my boyfriend, like he hadn't posted in like 5 years or something like that. He's like, I never get on here, and so I kind of like force him on there every now and then. He's like, now don't you dare start tagging me or something. And then one day I just started like tagging him, and he starts getting these random like friend requests and stuff. He's like, what have you done?
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So
goodness.
December 2023, coming out of COVID,
Okay.
kind of.
Yes, kind
You know?
of. I just moved back to Texas earlier in February. I got divorced. In February.
We're
It was-
divorced. Hey,
Okay.
comments,
Got
similarities.
divorced after right under 7 years. So like sometimes I'm like, I just say 7 because it was
Yeah.
like right there. And moved back here because the entire time I was living out of Texas, except for one stint of like half a year to a year or so. And yeah, that was my welcome back into dating.
So you get on Raya.
Get on Raya and match with this guy, and he's in Dallas. And one thing about Raya that is like a little frustrating is it's like worldwide. So not that many people are where you live.
Okay.
And so
It's not like a radius type thing.
no. And you're like, oh, I can meet someone in like Barcelona. No, you're not going to meet up with that person. You're going to match with them, never talk.
Of course.
And that's the end of it for the end of times. And so I just got done seeing someone that I was like enthralled with.
And this is after the divorce, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is your, let's call it your, is this your...
What, rebound?
It was
There you go.
basically a
Your rebound.
situationship,
Okay.
honestly. That's
Your
what
rebound.
my friends would call it.
Okay.
And just got done with that. So I was out meeting a friend and she lived in my building. We're like, oh, let's go out. And I was like, yeah, let's have some girl time, whatever. So we go out and she sees, we're like talking about guys. I bring him up and she's like, oh, he wants to meet. Like, go out, have fun. Like, you need to get this other guy out of your mind. Just go. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go.
So you were kind of into the other guy that you were dating.
Your rebound.
Oh
No, the guy that she was dating that they broke up. So
Oh, yeah.
you were really into him.
I was
he's the
really. I
rebound.
mean, we went to Europe together. We weren't
Yeah.
necessarily official then, which I've learned. I'm not going on another trip unless that boy is my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, I get it.
Because it was terrible. I mean, it was.
I've had a couple
horrible.
of those. I've had that.
And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. If you want to know somebody, go on a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's like a good initiation, like test?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yes.
can't.
Okay.
You can't hold they can't hold
No.
back.
No, it
they
was-
can't
it
mask
was
who they are.
terrible.
Yeah.
I think I got like 2 days of seeing Vienna because I'm like, dude, you're sleeping. Like, why are you sleeping in till like 4 or 5? Granted, yes, you're a doctor, but you just came
Yeah.
from like power throughing in Vegas. Like, you don't want to power through it in Vienna.
Yeah, come on. It's cute.
Red flag. Yeah.
Red flag. Red flag. Okay. So your friend tells you go out with the dude on
Yes.
Raya.
Yes.
What did you think? Did you think he was cute? Were y'all like similar ages? What?
He is, I think he's 2 years older than I was. I thought he was cute, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh. Like, oh.
Yeah. Rawr.
Exactly. No.
Rawr.
Yeah.
But like,
Your vagina wasn't tingling.
no,
No,
the
not.
China pot was not tingling at all. But I was like, you're cute. And like conversation wise, like he was a good conversation person and I like to talk. And especially like I do tend to be a texter, which I've learned lately the guys I've been falling for aren't.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So the conversation was like cool. He was keeping it going. And so we met at Greenlight Social. He was like, I'm with one of my reps. You want to meet us there? First off, I didn't know what Greenlight Social was. And I found out very fast that is like not my vibe.
Yeah.
And he kept saying the entire time, oh, this is like not my normal scene.
Red flag.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is very much.
I love that.
What's Greenlight Social? Tell us a little bit about that.
That is where Brylan loved to hang out. My son loved to
Brylan's
hang
24?
out. Yeah.
24.
Like a club.
It's a club. It's
Yeah.
like a it's like what we would have Lizard Lounge.
Yeah, like okay.
I know this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like what we used to think it
Yeah.
was when we were younger.
I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else
Yeah.
in like Europe. But yeah. So first, this is like, I'm still embarrassed to this day when this comes up because he goes, look for the blue or it's baby blue. But he's like, look for the baby blue Range Rover. And I was like, are you driving like your sister's car? Like a girlfriend's car?
Was it his?
It's his car.
He drives a baby.
He
blue?
drives a baby blue Range Rover.
This is red flags.
No,
I'm
it's so
loving this.
And,
it is
oh no,
so
it gets
good.
worse.
Oh,
It
girl.
gets so
love
worse.
it.
Girl.
I didn't.
Not the baby blue.
Oh yes. I didn't know this until later, way later. His license plate is T Money.
Oh no.
MUNNY. When that comes up, I'm like, and people are like, Abigail. I was like, I didn't know at the start. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's just like his like satire alter ego.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Mommy thinks it's like cool.
That is so
Oh, shoot.
funny. I have a license plate for my son who's 13 that says K Money on it. On
Ready to go?
No, on their in our mudroom.
Oh, okay.
Each of their little cubbies. We have Mad Dog. We got
K-Money.
OG living it, and then we got K Money.
You know, 13 years
13.
old.
Yeah.
34 years old.
Same thing, right?
Yeah. So bad. So bad. I'm still like to this day, just like,
Oh well.
Yeah. So that was originally, and then I was telling myself, Abigail, these are like surface level things. Like,
Yeah.
It's
don't
okay.
We can paint
Yeah.
his car. We
And
can
then
change his license plate.
He gets
Easy.
out and he's like decked out in like not the cutest designer stuff, and I was like, still look past it. You can change style.
Yeah.
That is one thing, probably the only thing you can change. So it's okay.
It sounds like something you would say.
Yeah.
Then we go in and it's fun. Like I'm a very like touchy person. Okay, I take that back. It's hit or miss with me. If I'm like really feeling you, I'm like, I want to be a koala bear right now. Him, it was like I couldn't decide if I liked it or not, but I was like trying to have fun. I did have some couple drinks, so I was like going with it. But I was like, wow, you really are very like touchy, but whatever.
I
So
like
then-
touchy. I don't know about on the first date, but I do love touchy.
Well, we
Physical touch.
go in. It's like fun. We're talking. Of course, we're both divorced. He immediately brings up his 2 girls that he has, which are adorable. But then I was kind of like, that was like really fast. And I don't know, from at least
Yeah.
my personal opinion, but everyone, handles the children different. So I was like, whatever. And so immediately knew about that. I was asking questions because I was like, I love kids. They're awesome. I'm not going
Did you
to.
have any kids?
No.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like immediately like write someone off because they have kids.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like shy away from it. Like, oh, that's an off topic. So I was like engaging in conversation about that.
Especially when you're 30. I mean,
Exactly. And
happens.
so the rest of the night was fun. We ended up going to one other place afterwards, and then I ended up staying at his house that night. And that
Dun, dun, dun. Don't feel bad. My ex-husband I was with for 20 years, I went to the club that night and, might have got a little busy or something on the first night home, but it's okay.
well,
There's no shame in our games over here.
here is where people, and I've been very like overly honest about this part on social media because I was like, I will never, ever, ever let that man think he has anything over me.
Yeah.
So that's the night that I got pregnant. And
The first night you met him,
Mm.
you got pregnant.
so,
Oh my
and might
God.
I add,
Abigail.
if we want to be very nitty gritty on this, I had zero idea it even got to that point. It was terrible.
Oh.
Like just terrible. I had no idea.
Oh my
It got to that point.
gosh.
Uh-oh.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
Like you'd had too many drinks or
like he just got up and then went to go shower.
There was
It
no
was
like fireworks.
Absolutely not. It was the worst of my entire life.
oh no. Oh man. Okay.
Terrible.
Okay, so we've had sex, we've established that. How long did it take for you to realize that you were pregnant?
I knew days later. So that was on like the third at like 3 a.m. or so, or like 4 a.m. I had a trip to Nashville on the 8th. On the 6th, I put on a pair of pants that I bought, and I was like, these don't fit.
A few days later.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening? So I went to Nashville with my friend Amber, and we met our friend Jordan out there. And the entire trip, we were joking about we need to go get a pregnancy test the entire time.
Crap.
Because I was like, something's wrong. Like, my body is not how it normally is. And, like, if anything, I was, like, not even eating. So I was like, what is going on here? And one thing about me is I've always been a member of the little bitty titty community. So I was like, these knockers are huge.
Oh man.
What is going on here? And then I got home and I was like, when we were out, normally it wasn't like me to just like stop at a hot dog stand at 2 a.m. on Broadway and get a hot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that sounds good suddenly.
Yes, I haven't had a hot dog for like years. And I got, like, what? Get home, and it was like 3 a.m. when I took one, and I send it to 2 friends, and I'm like, oh no, like it's positive. And I immediately started thinking it was the guy I was seeing before that I met Tanner, because it was like a week between that ending and then like me meeting up with him.
Oh my God. You're like, there's no way it
Yeah.
was this.
Yeah, I was like, it was terrible.
It was not T Money. Please.
I was like, there's no way it is
Please.
T Money. Goodness.
Not T Money.
Red flag.
Team Money now has no money. Anyways, we'll get to that. But I was like, there's no way. It's him. And so I kind of just like didn't say anything, because also I knew so early when I went to go get checked out, they're like, we don't see anything. Like, you're testing positive, but there's literally nothing. And so in my mind, I'm like,
it's very early.
Oh my gosh, it's either ectopic or like a couple other things. Yeah. And they're like, come back. I think it was like 2 weeks later. And they're like, oh no, here's like the yolk sac or something. So I was like, okay, no, we are pregnant.
Okay.
And after meeting him, we like chatted a little, but he would like call me at odd times. Like, there was one time I was heading home from Billy Bob's for a concert, and it was like 2 a.m. And I'm like, I'm not coming to your house.
So after the first night that you met him and y'all hung out, no fireworks, all that, were you like, I'm not into this guy? Or did you like, kind of chat, or did you think it would go anywhere?
No.
Or you were not interested?
No.
Not
I was
interested?
like chatting with him when he would like reach out to me.
But you
and
weren't
text
like
me. I never
thinking about him or reaching out to him. It wasn't like, oh, I really liked that. Nothing like
And
that. You were like, I'm done.
And I have all the
I'm
text
good.
messages.
Yeah.
All of them. Every single one. And call log.
Receipts.
Oh, I have all the receipts.
Okay.
And like, he was the one calling me
At odd times.
At odd times. And then also like not calling me at regular times. He would text me. But like that one time I was like, we were driving home from Billy Bob's in an Uber, and he was like, get off in Arlington and come over. I'm like, I'm not pulling the Uber over to come to your house for more terrible sex.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No. And
I'm
like,
good.
that's just not something I enjoy. Like, I did it like, no.
Yeah.
It's a one-off, whatever, you know. I tell people you got to get on something to get over, what is it? Get up underneath somebody to, what's that saying I always say? Get up underneath somebody to get over somebody else. Yeah. That's a good one for me.
So that passed by. I think he came over one time, and it was like not super late, but I was watching a very like sad, intense documentary on like poverty that just came out about like children and like sex trafficking. It was really like an emotional one. My uncle is a CEO of Compassion International, and so he dealt very closely with that. And one thing I bonded with this guy was I did mission trips growing up. He was ex-Mormon, who knows now, honestly, and did a mission and knew Spanish. My mom's Hispanic. And I was like, yeah, I'm watching this if you want to come over and watch it, but like, that's what I'm doing. And he came over, and the entire time he was like trying to sleep with me.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Oh, shit.
And I knew I was pregnant.
Oh, you already knew.
And you just hadn't told him.
Did you think it was?
Or
were you just not sure?
It was 50-50.
Okay.
And so.
And you hadn't told him? Okay,
And cool. I didn't tell the other guy like scared me, because I was like, you hate me.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to establish contact again?
Yeah.
Let me just say, he hated me. I did nothing wrong. He, to this day, thinks that I was, like, terrible to him. And I'm like, no, you're just immature for a 35-year-old doctor. Anyways, so that happened. And I told him on January 11th. And so Christmas went by. We talked off and on. He was in Hawaii with his family because they have a house up there or something. Building one, I don't know, but they had a condo, and I think they're building a house. And then there's like 4 or 5 days where it's like the longest stint where I didn't hear a word from him, and you'll find out why later. But I didn't think anything of it, because I was just like, we don't have anything. And then January comes around, I'm out with my friends, and I'm like, I have to tell one of them. Like,
to tell somebody.
I have to tell one of them. And I was like, I'm going to tell Tanner. He has 2 kids already. Like, I thought was the mature one and like can handle it. And I'm going to be blunt from the start. Like, this is the situation. I don't know 100%. And that's what I did. I texted him, and I was like, kind of like introed it. And I was like a mess when I was doing this with my friends. Like, I couldn't look at my phone. She was like typing for me. I was so immature.
Like, you write it.
Yes,
You
she
push
did.
send. You do it.
She did. And like would view the
Chat
message.
GPT it.
So,
Check my grammar.
he took it like a champ, because I was like, how like careful were you? And he goes, honestly, I don't remember. And I was like, okay, well, that's like, I was pretty drunk too, but I remember.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm just letting you know, like, I'm 7 to 8 weeks pregnant right now. And he was like, I have a couple questions. 1, are you seeing anyone? 2, what are you doing tomorrow or something? So it was something along those lines. And I was like, no, I'm not seeing anyone. I just was, but I'm not currently. And I can't remember if I told him. I did tell him straight up in text message, I think, that I didn't know for sure which one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I reiterated that when we went to dinner that next night. He was like, let me introduce you to sober Tanner. I was like, sounds great. Like, because I was like, okay, well.
Maybe this is different.
Maybe.
Is the Range Rover black now?
So, it was matte black before the baby blue. And I was like, why'd you ruin it?
Why did he ruin it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like blue, but
well,
Not
apparently
like
he
Not
saw
that blue.
someone, an old boss or someone in an old company he worked with, wrapped their car in that, and he literally said, I want that. So I'm like,
okay.
so you just follow people.
he liked it.
Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense. On par for you. So we go to dinner, and he's ordering me drinks, ordering me raw fish, like all this stuff. And I'm just looking at him like, do you remember our conversation last night?
Yeah, you can't have that. You're pregnant.
And no, didn't phase him. Dinner, I'm kind of skirting around it because I'm like, I don't want to like insult you by like, what is going on? So I don't really eat that. I eat the meat that was cooked on like that hot rock thing.
Yeah.
And then we go to his house later that night and we're watching something and I had to reiterate it because he was like, oh, I thought you were 7 to 8 weeks late. I was like,
What?
no, I'm 7 to 8 weeks pregnant.
Red flag.
I don't even know the math on that.
So you don't even
Like you don't get. You're not late. If you're late, you're pregnant.
I mean, isn't that the
men,
same thing?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like you're not just late. I mean,
I feel like that's the same thing.
unless it's menopause.
Yeah. And he
Okay,
was
so
like,
did it sink in this time?
it sank in.
Okay.
It finally sank in. And he was like, oh. And then we were kind of like silent. And he was like, well, what's your plan? And I was like, well, my plan is to keep it. Personally, it was just a decision that I knew I couldn't live with not, just with many factors. And so I told him, and he backed me 100%. But he also went on this thing of like every child's life is like valuable. It's honestly that part's kind of a blur because it's been so long. But I remember him like going on like he loves children, all this stuff. And I was like, okay. So, and I tell him from the start again, like the whole, I don't know 100%. We're going to get a paternity test done. And he's still just like supporting me and like talking as if it was his because I had like 2 more appointments and that's what it was leaning towards. And I was telling him that. And he was like sending me pictures of onesies via text message, like at Buc-ee's when he was on his way to Broken Bow for a retreat.
Red flag. I have a cabin in Broken Bow.
Well, I learned what happened in Broken Bow that weekend or whatever. Funny. Yeah, Tanner, I know. I know a lot more than you think, buddy. So, yeah, sending me pictures of onesies. He was also asking, like, oh, what size is he or she today? Like, all this stuff. And then at one point, like, I found out I did the blood test to find out boy or girl because I was like, this obviously wasn't planned. So I want to be as planned as possible with knowing that, even though in my perfect world, I wanted to, be surprised. And,
Yeah.
I was married for so long. I've always had an image of like what everything would be like.
Yeah.
And this could not be so different.
Yeah.
Like every appointment by myself because the ones that he did ask about going to, he just like ghosted and was like in a different state or like city and never gave me a heads up. The day would come and he would just be gone. So I was like, okay, cool. That's really sweet.
Wow, so you had to go all your appointments alone.
My mom came with me to one, but it took so long she had to go back because I was being seen in Dallas and they live in Carrollton. And she would have stayed, but like I just kind of felt bad. And at that point, I just was kind of like numb to it. I was like, it's fine. Like, you're okay.
How old were his children? And were they from one?
So he was married before and
it.
has 2 kids with her. I honestly don't know how old they are, but I want to say like 7 and like 5.
So not like babies.
No.
Yeah.
Something like that. And he would make jokes about like, I had 2 dogs. Oh, twins run in my family. Are we going to do chew toys that the dogs can fight over for the gender reveal? How many sets of matching Nikes do I need to get? Because in his house, he has these blown up photos of him and his 2 girls with all matching Nikes and would say stuff like that. And
so it's like future faking.
yeah. I mean, he made it sound like he was backing me 100% in it all the way. I mean, we had conversations in my kitchen. I'm like bawling.
Supportive.
He's crying because he's like talking about telling his parents. And he's like, I just need you to be there with me. And I'm like, well, of course I would like love to. So they know like I'm a normal person. I'm not some like hobo he found off the side of the street.
What does he do for a living, or what did he do, or what is his profession?
So when I met him, he was in solar.
Okay, got it.
Which, I'm sorry, some of the normal guys I know in solar, I'm so sorry, but like, no. But he before was in like real estate and a bunch of other stuff.
Real estate.
Yeah.
Red flag.
And something else, I don't remember, but very like entrepreneurial style sales guy. Oh my gosh, he's a sales guy to a T.
So probably charismatic.
Very charismatic. And that's how like a lot of the feedback I've gotten from that TikTok are like, how did he rope that many girls? Like, and especially
so tell us where it like, tell us what happened. Like, tell us how it changed.
Yeah,
like what,
when did the tide turn?
Yeah.
So when he was like acting like he was going to be involved, that's when we started hanging out a lot more. And like I was like, there was one time I spent 3 days like at his house. I like didn't go home. I think I went home once to like let my dogs out. I did have some friends that let them out the other day, so they weren't locked up for 3 days. But it was just like the caringness of like, I'm going to be like a dad, and not necessarily, it wasn't always like, we never were like, oh, let's get married, blah, blah, blah. That was never like talked about or anything like that. But like we were acting like we were dating. So I thought, and like just talking like it too, like the going to Hawaii to tell his parents. The girls are going to be so excited. Though in my kitchen, when we were talking that one time when I said I was crying and he was crying, whatever, he would say stuff like, I don't know where this is going to lead. Like maybe I fall in love with you and you fall in love with me. And like this is like a family, like all this stuff. He was saying like, we're going to be connected like for life, like all these things. And one thing about me was when I like did get pregnant and I was bloated, I was like super self-conscious, like very. And one massive, massive red flag, and I've heard and seen him tell this to multiple women. There's something way more attractive about you knowing that you are carrying my child. There's just like, there's something so sexy about knowing you have my child right now.
He likes that.
Yeah.
Because I would be super self-conscious, and he's like, don't be like.
Did y'all have a falling out?
So his communication got really weird. Like I would have something to talk to him about and he would just like not respond or just like not talk to me or something. And then he'd be posting on his Instagram story at a club at like 3 or 4 a.m. A lot of it was hanging out with guys like 10 years younger than him, which no problem. I have friends younger than me, but I'm not doing cocaine with them in the bathroom at a club. Yeah. Granted, I did not know about the cocaine. Like, call me naive.
Red flag.
Call me naive. I did not grow up around drugs. I was never really around drugs. Maybe weed in college and like some here and there in Arizona when I lived there. That's the extent of my like experience with never cocaine. So I did not know when I was with him 100% of the time that that's what he was doing. Like if we were out and he would go in the bathroom, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so hid that very well, super high functioning, but his communication got really weird. I called him out on it. I was like, you're leading me on right now. So can we decide, like, are we going to continue acting like we're together and like dating? Again, not necessarily like this is my boyfriend, but like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we need to cut it off and be like, we're co-parenting?
Yeah.
And he basically like glossed over that and was like, what are you doing right now? Let me pick you up. Let's go talk and get a smoothie. Or I think he was like, let's go get a smoothie and then we're going to talk about it. Didn't really talk about it. And of course, he just like gets you back into the rhythm of just like.
And then kind of does it again.
It's like luring you back in.
So then when we got a
Breadcrumbing?
smoothie, absolutely. When we got a smoothie, that was a day I ended up staying at his house for like 3 days straight. And then I think it was, I went home and then a day later, I was seeing him again posting at a club at like 4 a.m. I was like, when you have some like serious things to discuss, and he just like wasn't registering. And again, I was like, you're acting like this way. Like, I just would like to know.
How far along were you?
At that point, it was, I think it was like 10 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around 10 weeks. Because I think I told him at like 7. When I got all the math correct, it was like 6 or 7, not 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, when I got everything finally checked out. But, so I'm trying to think.
How did you figure out he was a liar?
Oh, so I call him out again, and then he's like, let me give you a call. And because I was like, you're doing X, Y, and Z. Right now, it's like I'm having trouble kind of remembering what I called him out for exactly. Yeah. So then he calls me, and then he just like dumps everything on me. He's like, I'm an alcoholic. I have a really bad cocaine addiction. And then I started asking the questions of like, because at one point I did ask him, I was like, are you sleeping with other people? And he said verbatim, I feel like and this was not the best answer, but I was so wrapped up in like really wanting it to be a family.
Right.
Just because I never wanted to bring a child into a broken home.
I think that happens when
Yeah,
you're
I think that's
pregnant
everybody.
anyway. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of your hormones and you're visioning that life, and he's already set that tone for you. So
He's future faking.
He came back afterwards and was like, I just think your like pregnancy hormones are kind of just like making you a little, I forgot the word he used, but now looking back, I'm like,
red flag.
Like I'm speechless because I'm like, how disrespectful could you be? Like, so that's when he dumps everything on me, and I'm just like in utter shock. He did admit to sleeping around, so I was like, great. So you're doing that with me, knowing I'm pregnant with who knows who, and I still didn't know the extent of what I found out later, and then. He basically is like, I think I just need to get my head on straight before bringing another child into this world. And I'm just thinking like, getting your head on straight is not, because he kept saying, I need to work because we were supposed to meet for lunch a couple times or something. And it would come and I would text him and be like, hello. And he'd be like, oh, he's like 2 hours away. No heads up, nothing. And I'm like, you know how disrespectful it is to like tell me we're going to meet for lunch and then like not respond and ghost me? And he's like, you don't understand, Abigail. I just really need you to be supportive. Like, I need to work. I support my ex-wife and my kids 100%. If I don't work, she can throw me in jail. All these things. And I'm like, I do take some pride in, if there's anything I can't understand, is work and if you communicate with me. My previous husband was in the medical field, a resident and a fellow. Like, granted, we did have some, like, obviously we're not together anymore, but when there's communication, I feel like I can be understanding.
Yeah.
Zero communication with this man. He just would ghost me on a lunch. I'm like, it's also, we have, like, super important things to figure out, too. So, and he even at one point mentioned, because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be on a 7th floor with my 2 dogs and letting them out and, like, the baby. And he even mentioned like me moving into his house at one point. Now, it wasn't ever talked about as in like, I don't think we were going to share a bedroom or like super long term, but like that was a thing.
Yeah.
So
when'd you find out about all the other women?
So that happened. And I got so like thrown off, shocked, and just blindsided. I like couldn't eat or sleep for 3 days. I pass out in the hallway of my apartment complex. My neighbor, Joanne, love her, she calls 911. I go to the hospital. And at this point, I still haven't told my family. And it is a regret that I have, because if they knew
you
that,
still haven't told them.
if they knew that, they would be like devastated that. And it was never, I never thought they wouldn't be supportive. I just was hoping to be like, here's the dad. A, we're going to try and make this work.
Yeah.
Or B, it's not going to, but we're going to be amazing like co-parents.
Yeah.
And still put the child first. Yeah, that didn't happen. So I go there, and he finally calls me for like another follow-up phone call, and he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at the hospital. And he's like, what? And he again accuses me of like, you don't tell me things. I'm like, honestly, I didn't think you cared. Like, you just dropped a bomb on me after hardly talking to me for a couple like days, maybe even longer. It's kind of a blur. So like, why would I want to loop you in if like you're going to turn this around and say that I'm just needy or something? And so we talk, and not once did he ask how the baby was. He had to pack for Scottsdale. So he got off the phone after we talked, and me being me, sent a follow-up message, basically like pleading of like, I still think we could be, I think I said verbatim, kick-ass co-parents. And I think he hearts it. The next morning was thinking about you last night. Hope you're doing okay. And I was like, yeah, doing great. He sends me a picture of a palm tree. Greetings from Scottsdale. I said, bring that sunshine back. Don't hear from him for days. And so I sent him a text, and I'm like, I guess you're going to make me choose for you, because it was this whole thing. He was like, I just need to like think. And then I'm seeing him party like hardcore in Scottsdale. So I'm like, okay, how are you getting your head on straight for your girls? If you're saying you need to work, but your work is hanging out with with guys 10 years younger than you doing cocaine.
Yeah.
So like, you're hurting yourself. And I'm seeing like,
yeah, period.
So
red flag.
Yeah. And so I send that message. I guess you're making me choose for you, because you can't keep me in this limbo.
Yeah, you have to make the choice sometimes.
So he never responded. So it was like 2 weeks later. I can't remember how the gap in between, but I see him on the road by Turtle Creek, on Turtle Creek Lane, by Turtle Creek in Oaklawn. And he literally cuts me off. Now, I don't know 100% if he knew it was me. I drive a basic Dallas girl Porsche SUV. So I don't know if he knew it was me, but come on. I knew it was him. I saw the T-Money. I saw that baby blue Range Rover.
I don't think you got to worry about there being a lot of those.
No. And so I text him again. I was like, hey, I just saw you. Do we need to get lawyers involved with this? Because at that point, I was still working. I still had my job, my income, everything. Didn't respond. Nothing. I was like, all right.
So he just stopped replying.
Yeah, just up and... Yet I would see...
Because you were applying some pressure.
I guess so. Weak man can't take it, so...
It's funny, too, because in past relationships and stuff that I've had, my counselor would say, because he would never give an answer, it was always like, I'm stringing you along, or I have to think, or you're not going to,
Yeah.
it's good if it's going to be an ultimatum, and, just stretch things out forever until you just kind of let it go. And she was like, you have to make it very black and white and make it a yes or no.
Yeah.
Like, you can't give it, like, you have to basically say, it's an easy question.
Yeah.
It's a yes or a no. And like, you almost have to back them into a corner to get a answer.
Right.
But it seems like he just stopped replying.
That's what I like kind of did, because I was like, this is my entire life. And he said, he would always tell me, you're pushing me away because you're strong-arming me, and that is a red flag.
Yeah, that sounds like he's a walking red flag.
Gaslighting.
So I go on in silence, and then I call someone.
It's scary because it's your first pregnancy. You don't know the person. You're trying to do the right thing. You're being strung along at the same time. And yeah, he's being cool to you as long as you're being like chill. But as soon as she wants to talk about
anything important,
important, it seems like he just bounces.
And I forgot a big important detail also. We were in his kitchen, and he looked me in the eye. This is right before he was saying how like there's nothing more attractive or sexy than knowing like you're carrying my child right now, was when he looked me in the eye and was like, I will always do my part financially. Always. And this was after
Red flag.
I paid for the paternity test.
Yeah.
So you ask him, do we need to get lawyers involved? He cut you off on the road. He's not even replying to that. Where do you move on from that? Do you think?
So I knew someone that may or may not have ran a background check
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
on the guy before him.
She's all about the background check.
As like kind of a joke.
Yeah.
She is the background checker.
As like kind of a joke. And that guy came back all thumbs
Thumbs up.
So then I contacted this person and I was like, hey, I
got another one.
Yeah, I was like, I need you to look into this guy. And I didn't even ask him for the last guy. He just did it.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny. I was like, I need you to look into this guy. And I was like, let me just be blunt. I'm pregnant and this is what's going on. And this person is a family member. And so he calls me and is like, what's going on? Have you told mom and dad? I was like, no. And he's like, all right, like, let me, do my little thing. I was like,
Do my magic.
Come on, keyboard warrior. Let's go. Get us
Comes
some
back.
info.
And the divorce is still going on.
Oh, he's not divorced.
Not divorced.
He's
Actually,
married.
That part I'll have to like fact check again.
Yeah.
But I know it was long because I remember telling him mine was like bing, bang, boom, 60 days, done. We have not talked since. Like it was the cleanest divorce on the planet. No kids, nothing. Haven't talked since. He was like saying how I was strung out for like 2 years. And
That's her. I'm just kidding.
so that came back. A child endangerment charge came back. A domestic violence charge came back. And like those things. And the days that I like didn't hear from him, and I think it was beginning January, he was apparently supposed to be serving jail time. Like, because if he pled guilty to the child endangerment charge and did that or some like settlement thing, then
Some kind of plea.
Yeah, then he wouldn't have like have that something along
Like
those
on
lines.
his record or something.
Yeah, something along those lines as he took that instead of like pleading something else. I don't remember exactly. But the fact that it's on there, and my mind immediately went to you were driving drunk with your kids. Now I don't know exactly what happened there, but you have a domestic violence charge and child endangerment charge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, what? And then he's in like he did tell me about his business lawsuits, but didn't tell me about all of them. Like the amount of business like stuff that came out of the woodwork with this man of like him screwing over people, all this stuff was like unreal.
Wow.
So he was in like 3 business lawsuits as well.
Once you get this information, do you continue to reach out to him?
No.
Or are you just like, okay, I need to like
I
figure out a plan?
Yeah, I didn't say a word.
And did he ever reach back out to you?
I ended up telling my parents, I think when I was 17 weeks pregnant. So I got like bloated super fast, but then it just like stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was still able to like hide it, whatever. I tell my parents, I think at 17 weeks, or maybe it was like longer than that. And I mean, I'm very closed off with like my dating life. So they didn't even know I was like seeing anyone. They didn't know that like we continued to hang out afterwards. They didn't know any of that. And so they were very blindsided. And then I told them, not right away, but I was like, some things came back about this person, and he's not who I thought he was. I'll tell y'all more later. I'm just not ready to say it because...
What was your parents' reaction?
Quietness.
Well,
Also because in my mind, I was like, say for some reason he has his awakening, his come to Jesus, his whatever... I didn't want that in their heads. And not that they would like immediately like not welcome him back, because like they believe in second chances and people mess up, whatever. But I didn't want that to be the first impression. And so I was like, in case something insane happens and he
gets it
his life
together,
maybe it can, give you a fighting chance. Well, it started to kind of just be like, I don't know. So then it just came out, and I ended up telling them because I think my mom did ask, and I was like, this is what's going on. And so that was kind of like tough for them to take. And I'm kind of also like, I'm the only one in my family that like has tattoos or like whatever.
Black sheep.
And so I've always felt a little just
Pick
like
me. I'm black sheep. It's okay.
I'm not as open just because I know I just see things a little bit different than I know they would want me to see some things. But I mean, they were supportive from day one. They always said, any appointments, let us know. And if they ever didn't, it was just me dealing with it myself of, I don't want to bug them because it's all the way in Dallas. I like that kind of thing. But they were never like not supportive. Yeah. And so that was nice. But yeah, so nothing from him.
Still.
So it came, I had my son, but little by little.
Oh, you had a son. It was
did.
a boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which he kept saying.
When was he born?
In August.
Oh, he's
August
he's a
what?
Leo.
August what?
16.
Oh,
I'm the 15th. That's her son.
My son's birthday.
You're
Look, it's a
Leo. They're the
connection.
Boy, sons ever. My oldest son is a Leo, August 10th. And he's like the coolest kid ever.
This kid's
so
pretty
sweet,
cool.
so down to earth, like all the good things.
So as like time goes by,
What's his name?
Callahan.
Oh, that's
So
so
cute.
cute. Okay. Okay.
As time goes by, it was like pretty high risk, and I was like connected to a heart monitor for a hot minute. And so I was like, couldn't really work what I was doing before. And then like, I was also like very depressed.
Yeah.
Like I was
Well, it's a crazy situation and hormones involved and
like the
your
birthing
first pregnancy.
And so it was like a mix of everything. And like the
Anxiety.
birthing center tours, I scheduled like 5 and I couldn't even get myself to walk in. Like I was crying, like bawling in my car every time. And then I just went home. And like
I hate that for you.
all of that was good. I wanted to go shopping and buy stuff, but like, then I just like couldn't. I also didn't want to like get too happy because I was always like worried, like what if just I miscarry? The percentage that I was told from my last doctor was like, not that you can't get pregnant naturally because you very well can, but due to some other issues you've had, you'll probably have to use some sort of like boost or medicine. And so I was like a mix of things. So like I was crying myself to sleep the majority of the time. All the time.
So sad.
And then I was losing work, and then I was having like my work tarnished because like I was failing at that, and then that was getting out. So I was just losing everything. And then it got to a point where I was like, I'm like close to losing my car, my dogs, my apartment, like, which when I went in to have my son, I actually did lose my apartment. I never made it back. My parents had to move me out because I couldn't work now for months and months and months. I had no income.
Yeah.
And I lost my apartment. And then my dogs, I haven't lived with my dogs since August.
Oh my God.
They've been watched by someone.
Yeah.
It's barely been able for me to like make that work because it's so expensive. And I have 2 hunting dogs.
What kind?
A German short-haired pointer and a chocolate
Oh,
lab.
cool. Oh, you have gold dogs.
And they're my babies. Like they made it through. Like one time when my ex-husband and I had an issue, I actually moved home for 2 months, and my German short-haired pointer was in the car with me during that.
Yeah, you remember those times with your dogs.
I think it was almost like a 30-hour drive I made by myself from Wisconsin to Texas.
Oh my goodness.
And to this day, if that dog was not with me in the car, I probably just would not have made it.
Yeah.
And then they were with me through my divorce and driving from Arizona to Texas. And I was like, I can't let them go.